Thank you very much for joining us. These are some of the brand new illustrations by our wonderfully talented art team.
These are something that it's really hard to express in the 3D cutscenes. We just wanted to have some illustration as well. So
Yeah,
and beside the 3D cutscenes,
hmm.
it's sometimes it's better to have these illustration cutscenes.
We talked about this, and during the closed beta, we had quite a bit of feedback regarding the cutscenes. The animations might not have been up to snuff. They're not quite the quality that we would have wanted, as far as the smooth, not uncanny valley feeling. So, have you guys given it much thought on how you're gonna tackle it moving forward?
My thought is that it's really hard to have a top quality 3D cutscenes throughout all games, maintain the same level of the good quality of the cutscenes. So I think we should be focusing on like key scenes and polish those first. Then the other scenes will be less polished.
That means that there's 3 types of cutscenes in the game, right? We would have an animated cutscene, an illustrated cutscene, and if we did do, the whole basic dialogue thing, that would be the 3rd type of cutscene, reserved for more minor.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same.
Moving on to the next concept. This is kind of concept designs for one of the new monsters that players have not encountered yet. I believe it's called the Anispida or something like that.
Basilisk.
The Basilisk. Most of the creatures that you've encountered in Lost Eidolons so far are very intimidating. You have a hellish dog that looks like it's from Resident Evil. You have the Manticore, which is gigantic and heaving. And now you have a giant armored snake. Most of the monsters are very intimidating to deal with. Is the concept of weak points. We talked about weak points in the survey with our community, and we tried to gauge how people felt about it. And generally speaking, people liked the idea of weak points, but there were some frustrations along the way with the weak points constantly changing at the beginning of every turn, and it felt like a bit of a roll of the dice and a bit of randomness if you would have the proper weaponry to deal with a particular monster. And so there have been feedbacks where people were asking things like, "Oh, but what if the weak point didn't change, or what if there was a benefit for destroying all of the weak points? Like, say you destroyed both the weak points in a single turn, and then it would maybe debuff the boss." What do you think about those kinds of feedbacks?
Well, the rotating is actually our main focus for users to enjoy. I mean, our battle designer really likes that concept of rotating, so that you can you can have a strategy.
Yeah, it's
So
like taunting the boss, like,
rotate.
"Hey, look at me." We had a lot of people that did actually say they enjoyed the concept of rotating the boss to move the weak points for their units. There were a lot of people that actually liked that a lot. This is pretty cool. This was originally a replacement for a cutscene, correct?
Yeah, this is something when we have a narration, like sometimes there will be some narration which will explain the current status of the nations. So this is for the the substitute for the cutscenes. But then having based on the user feedback, actually a lot of people mentioned that they wanna know the state of the game, where we are right now and where we are heading for.
So I think this kind of thing would be actually perfect as like either like a loading screen, or when you're at the camp, if you're looking at the war board or something, you could interact with it and see the current status of the game. There's a lot of really cool things that we could potentially do with this sort of thing. We have some improved UI elements.
Okay, one on the left is something we worked on. The arrow pointing where the enemy is attacking.
So
Will be
the
attacking.
forecast, yeah.
Yeah, before it was it's in the light screen you can see the just a solid line pointing.
So the one on the left, this is now the polished look after the art team went in, right? And they replaced the line with those arrows. That's good. It gives it a bit of more of a distinct feel. And on the right, there's this eye icon, which I've not seen yet before. Could you explain what the eye icon is? It's a little red icon next to each of the enemies.
Yeah, where this eye icon was to show the concept of the what's being clicked to show the enemy range.
So if the eye icon is there, that means it's currently displaying the enemy's attack range.
So this has been changed to the tile icon.
Okay.
During the beta one.
Got it. Understood. All right.
So
cool.
both these two features are based on our demo feedback that asking us to show better, polished enemy forecast line and the attack ranges.
So the next thing are these new character renders. These character renders are extremely good looking. And I do want to touch upon this because they don't look exactly like this in game.
Yeah, game engine and also the users the computer hardware spec. So with these rendered images uses a lot of writings and these rendered images are at the maximum quality possible,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. If it looked like this in game, it would turn people's computers into toasters. This is pretty interesting. So, what is the main thing about this video here?
On the ground, there's a trap spread around.
It's very
if
subtle.
You look at it, yeah, it's during the battle there will be some event where the soldiers will, put those trap on the ground.
It's very hard to see from the top-down view, by the way, but I can see it when it zooms in. You can see the caltrops, those little like spike things that ninjas would throw on the ground. If it was like kind of shiny, like you can see like a shimmer on the ground. I think that would be a nice way to stand out more. So we had a lot of people talk about this in the beta feedback as well, and it was discussing about how it was very dark in the camp. It was very hard to see anything. And so I believe the team has started working on adding additional light sources and bringing the brightness levels up quite a bit more. And I think it's very evident looking at the middle one versus the one on the right, that the one on the right is way easier to see different things around the camp. Moving on, we have cutscene improvements. This is, don't worry guys in chat, this is pretty spoiler free. It's not that major of a cutscene, but it is important to distinguish the difference. It's very obvious which one is the newer one. That is much better looking. The one on the right, of course. I like how the model for Carlos is completely different on the one on the right.
Originally, our creative team creates these cutscenes about what they were imagined for, and these creative teams aren't like professional for making camera angles and animations. So we toss these to our art team, so they polish those.
Okay. And this is a UI concept. Can you kind of walk us through what some of the elements on the screen are, since obviously the text is in Hangul, so our viewers they might not be able to understand.
This is almost final look of it, and we're gonna have a character stats and below there's a string of the numbers, right?
Yep.
And that's the basic stats for the character, and on the top, that's the basically same thing with the what we already have right now. So we're gonna have a characters and equipment, skills
It's the
and
navigation.
spells.
Got it.
Yeah, that's the categories of the big categories. The left panel will be the subcategories from the big categories. So we have a character, status, character information, and maybe the story and class information. On the right panel, that's the detailed information on subcategories.
Okay, so I see the icons at the bottom. These are the individual stats. Would the dev team consider that if you hover over them, it tells you what the stat kind of does?
We should be. Yeah. So we're gonna have some the toolkit to explain.
Next UI element is that on the right there. That is a shield, correct?
Yeah, that's the shield.
Okay, so this is an equipment UI.
Yeah, this is the second big category of the main menu, and these are the equipment.
Yeah, and I'm gonna quickly switch to the next UI, but it zooms in on the weapon. And that menu on the left, that's a current list of the items that are available to the player. We actually had a feedback about this list as well in regards to sorting. And I think people found it a little cumbersome to have to sort, like to scroll through items that are already equipped by their other units. Is that something that could be considered in the future, is to maybe place all the items that are already equipped by other players at the very bottom so people don't have to cycle through them, especially as they unlock more characters in the game?
That's possible. Yeah.
Okay. Moving to the next UI, this is a concept for the relationships between
Eden and others.
Eden and others, correct. Right. So in this, it would be his relationship with Marshall, correct?
Yeah.
All right. UI 6. This is probably my favorite screen from the UI concept designs. This is where you equip the skills. It looks so cool with that background.
Top and bottom are the same as the others. And the left panel, we have the equip skills. And then we have the character's unique passive. Each character have, unique passive. And then class passive. Whatever the classes you are in, you will have your own class passive.
I see. So those are the ones that are not edited. Got it.
Character passive and class passive, you can edit it, but you can change it, the class passive, if you change the class.
Right.
So, and the right panel will be something explaining what you have been choosing. If you choose the first skill, that will explain what on the right panel.
What do you think about one of the characters having a character skill where they could use potions on the unit next to them?
That's possible. That's
a pretty cool one. That's like a chemist passive or something like that from other games. The spell book is quite set in stone, I believe. But players did ask if it was possible that when selecting skills, it would tell you in the tooltip what kind of range the skill had.
I'm not sure why it's not added, but we should be adding those. It's not that hard thing.
So the first that we're going to listen to is the battle music for combat music number 6. we're going to listen to the opposing camp music now. Why don't we quickly talk about the feedback as a whole? So, very recently we sent the team a very, very extensive report on all of the player feedbacks from Discord, from feature upvote, and from the survey. Right now, what is the status of these feedbacks? What is the dev team doing with these currently?
Well, some of the feedbacks are something that we are already, aware of it, and we were
Yes.
working on it already. And some feedbacks are something that haven't thought about it, or something that is planned later on. So right now we are putting the priority on those
Right.
feedbacks. What we're gonna do first and what we're gonna do later. So we're gonna put the priority, and we are planned to have a meeting next week so that we can actually do some distributor work.
It would be a great offense on our part if we were to give you another beta test right away without making meaningful changes to the game. So what we would like to do is go through the feedback, take time to develop improvements to the game, and then once we feel like the game has made a reasonable improvement from where it is, we can start thinking about when the next beta test will be. What our goal is we hope that the people who participated in the first beta test, when they participate in the second beta test, we want them to be wowed. We want them to be floored that, okay, that's crazy. They made all these changes. These were all different things that were in feature upvote, and now they're in the game. So we're going to be very realistic with it. We need to take time to develop first, and then we'll consider when the next beta test will be. But of course, stay tuned, stay in the Discord, and we will definitely keep everyone updated along the way. And you better believe that the moment we're ready to announce the next beta test, you guys will be the first people that we let know. Alrighty, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Please make sure to follow us on social, join our Discord, wishlist the game on Steam, do all that good stuff. It helps us out. And gosh, we're looking forward to showing you guys how we're going to make the game better. Okay?
Thank you.
Just like, thank you very much for staying late with us today. And we will see you on the next one.